Hemant, welcome to ScooNews headquarters in Jaipur.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hemant, reflecting on the Great Indian School Tour and its impact reaching over 30 cities and impacting about 4,000 teachers in just the last 3 months, I'm curious to hear your perspectives from a Benesse viewpoint. What are your thoughts and reactions following the completion of phase 1 of the Great Indian School Tour?
Short answer is excited and inspired because see, this gave us the opportunity to, this experience came from me attending several school events happening in Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, wherever, right? And I had always thought about a more meaningful initiative being where instead of people coming to a big city, we are able to go to schools, we are able to reach out. And I think thanks a lot to you, Ravi, and to GIST ScooNews to make that possible. Because, as I said, we were able to touch the lives of so many teachers, so many schools. We were able to learn from this process, and hopefully, I think, because of the way you had designed the entire initiative, right? Teachers from use of AI, GPT to different kind of facilitation mindsets, etc. Right? So different themes for teacher training. We were able to teacher growth and development. We were able to explore, and hopefully, I think my only aspiration going forward for this kind of an initiative is that how do we kind of arrive at certain tangible next steps from this, right? Because the fear in my mind for these kind of initiatives has always been that, okay, many things happen, there is a huge amount of momentum, energy, people feel inspired, people learn, but what do they do next?
Sure.
Right? So that's, I think, a tangible next step.
Sure. To all our viewers, let me put this on record that Benesse is one of the world's largest education organization and clearly Japan's #1 education company, which is deeply rooted in Japan's educational ethos. Hemant, what inspired Benesse to expand into India?
See, we have been looking at the Indian education space for around 10 years now. So we looked at PK, we looked at higher education, at some point in time K-12 also. But every time we were internally debating what is the right time, right? So this converted into a concrete move when the new education policy was being written, because we were involved in some way. We provided certain best practice from Japan schools, etc., etc. When the new education policy was released finally in 2020, we realized that the way the policy intends to transform the school education system and the overall education system is very similar to how the Japanese education system has evolved over the last 5-6 decades.
Okay.
Right. So, for example, people talk about CUET, the Common University Entrance Test. Similar kind of test was introduced in Japan in the year 1978, which is called the National Center Test. That is the only way for school students to get admission into undergrad colleges and universities in Japan. So that's just one example of the similarity. The second example of similarity is the gross enrollment ratio target for higher education institutions in India has been taken as around 52-53% over the next, I think, 10 years roughly from now, which is again similar to, and this number right now is 26%, 26-27%. So double the number. And this doubling in Japan has also happened in let's say between 1950s to 1980s, right? And that has led to overall change in the education system of the country. It has made the education system link itself better to the market because people are going to higher education system institutions, they're getting better jobs, etc., etc. So all that is, I mean, those are just two examples, but very similar to the journey in Japan. And we have, because we work with 90% plus schools in Japan, so we take some pride that, okay, we have some indirect contribution there to make it happen. So all those learnings we wanted to bring to India, and NEP provided that opportunity. So we didn't waste even a single day after that.
Fantastic.
And decided to start in 2020.
So you've been talking about Benesse. I mean, as you mentioned, that the term Benesse in Japanese stands for well-being. I mean, would you want to touch upon a little bit about well-being of teachers in India? I mean, where teachers have been always been central to Benesse's initiatives. How do you see the role in transforming education of this country at this point in time, where, I mean, we have NEP, we have National Curriculum Framework, we have pretty recently CUET preparations. How do you look at the role of the teachers in this country?
And so, see, Benesse has been founded by a school teacher. So the founder, when he founded the company back in 1955, was a school teacher. He saw this dream that, Japan has to become developed, and therefore the education system has to change. And therefore, very early on, once the company was formed, we started working with the Japanese schools. Right? So teachers founding a company, I think that is the core of the thing, and we wanted to improve the school-centered learning. That's the mission for us in India also. Therefore, whatever we are doing in India is with the schools, with the teachers, right? So all of our programs are focused around how do you empower teachers, how do you make them more efficient, how do you make them more skilled, how do we not, actually one of the KPIs we measure internally is, are our programs, tools, products, whatever you call it, are they actually making the lives of the teachers easier, versus they are increasing the burden? Because we don't want to do that. We already know that, I mean, the role of teachers has expanded much beyond what it used to be, let's say when we were in school, because it's not only about teaching, preparing for teaching. A lot of administrative tasks, lots of management tasks are falling on the shoulders of the teachers. So I think completely with them. In fact, I mean, just to give you an example, our offerings, so we do, for example, student assessments, right? And our programs are around how do you get data out of it and kind of embedded into the entire academic program of the school. But in doing so, we could have left it, let's say, student assessment has happened, leave it to the teachers, right? But we have a digital tool in both of our big programs. We have a digital tool which is only designed for teachers.
I see.
Right? So it's like, okay, insights have come. We understand that teachers don't have that much of time. They may not be able to interpret the data. They may not be able to look at the insights. So how do we make their lives easy? We give a login ID, password, etc. They can go whenever they want to. They can reach out to us for any help. So that's the kind of system we have designed even in our programs.
Very, very interesting. Recently, your CUET preparation program has become extremely popular in the Indian schools. Could you tell us a little more about what it entails and how you plan to expand it?
Yeah, no, good question, and I agree with you. And in fact, I think the northern part of India, in particular, has seen a lot of uptake in CUET. I think CUET, by the way, for people who are viewing this also, because this is a recent exam, but it has become the second largest competitive exam already in India, right? Roughly around 14-15 lakh registered students. And therefore, we are also seeing a lot of interest. Our core philosophy has been, as I said earlier also, that we want to promote school-centered learning. India, unfortunately, has, schools preparing for board exams, coaching center preparing for competitive exams. CUET, as per the design of the NEP also, has been planned in a way that schools are able to and teachers are able to prepare the students not only for board exams but also for CUET. And we say that this is CBSE plus alpha, or CBSE or NCERT plus alpha, which is a very small alpha. And so we try to make sure that that alpha is discovered early by the teachers, by the students, so that they are able to prepare and they are not required to go outside of the school to prepare for CUET, because if that happens, by the way, that is actually against how it was designed in NEP, right? So that's our endeavor. I think very successful in that. Touchwood, I think we have also launched it a couple of years back, but many schools have shown interest. We are looking to make that offering as one of our primary offerings going forward. I think that is our plan. Maybe I can't talk about the growth outlook, etc. But yeah, big multiples of growth. But that doesn't matter. What matters is that are we able to create the value for the schools and the teachers and the students by way of doing the CUET preparatory program.
Fantastic. Finally, as you look ahead to the future, what message would you like to share with educators and school leaders across the country?
I think interesting question. And by the way, I'm on a small, as I was sharing with you, Ravi, also for the last couple of days, I am on some sort of a mini GIST myself. So I've gone to 4 or 5 locations within the last 2-3 days from Sunday, and meeting different educators. And some of them, I have been talking about this theme only, which is to say that I don't know whether it is fortunate or unfortunate, but the school system, the K-12 system of the country is becoming more and more privatized, as we know, right? So there are more than 50% of the students, of the total student population in K-12 is enrolled in private schools, not government schools.
True.
And this number is rapidly increasing over the years, right? Which I think puts a lot more onus on private schools now, because schools are not just I won't say not even social enterprises, right? So these are supposed to be creating our citizens of tomorrow, and therefore I always say that private schools have a bigger nation building role now, right? So I think how do we elevate that purpose, and how do we see that purpose beyond just the mundane task of, let's say, running a school or servicing a school over the next 1-2 years? I think we need to see that on a longer term horizon, that how can we, because as I said, more and more students are now in private schools. This is going to increase much more. How do we get them skilled enough so that they get into the right colleges and universities, so that they become employable, so that they are able to contribute to the growth of India? I think that should be the dream and aspiration of, and we are working towards that. I think I'm personally inspired by that kind of mission, and I would like people to think in that direction.
Brilliant. So that was Hemant Joshi, the Chief Executive Officer of Benesse India. And thank you, Hemant, for visiting our office in Jaipur. And I wish the entire team of Benesse, both in India and Japan, a Merry Christmas and a very Happy New Year.
Same to you. Same to you. I think thanks for hosting me here. It was an absolute pleasure. I think, and again, many thanks for doing GST Phase 1.
Completely our pleasure.
Your GST Phase 2 is coming up in February.
February, yes, after the board examinations gets over, yes.
Yeah. So best wishes for that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.